Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Divine Diva, where my diva for today is Jennifer. So, welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
And if you would like to introduce yourself and tell a bit about what you do to our audience.
Sure, my name is Jennifer Nadia. I am based in Europe. I don't have a fixed home at the moment, which is gorgeous because it gives me a lot of freedom to see where do I want to put down my roots. In my work, I am a coach and a soul guide, a plant whisperer, and plant alchemist. So I work a lot with plants. I do live events like plant ceremonies. And for me, what I really feel called to is these soft, sensual plants. And I
Mm,
also do one-on-one work online and offline, and I do courses as well. So it's a lot of different things. I would
mm,
say at the core of everything is who am I? What do I want in this life? And how am I getting there? I would say
mm,
that's the core. And I work with women mainly, just
mm.
because I feel like I'm here to help the women, the feminine rise. Just
Yeah,
so gorgeous that because I feel like it really fits with your podcast.
thank you so much. And I'm happy that you're here. And I would love to know, in your view, what qualities does a divine diva have?
Definitely grace
Mm,
and elegant, which is so gorgeous because these two things, like grace and elegance, there's so many different varieties of it,
mhm,
how you can portray it and how it can be. Elegant grace and honesty actually comes up, like just being honest who you are, right?
mm,
You're not hiding your face, you're just truthfully yours. Yeah.
Authenticity, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. And when and how did you discover or feel that need to do more like inner work and to know, okay, there's more than just this vessel that I am?
Definitely. I mean, when does the inner work actually start? I think I was starting before I actually became conscious that I was
Mm,
starting inner work. I've been always someone, even as an early child, I had very ambitious desires and dreams. And I think it was always, reached moments in my life where I was like, wait, feels boring. I feel stuck. And that's usually when I accelerated into a growth spurt. So that happened all throughout my life.
mm,
Like really conscious about it, I became like probably 10 years ago, where I started realizing, hey, there is things that I can choose to do,
mm,
that's things where I can look at. And I started with like receiving coaching and therapy for many years, and then also doing a lot of courses to develop my own skills,
mm,
like my intuition, my psychic abilities, my coaching abilities. Like, who am I as a person? What is my relationship to myself, my body? What is my relationship to my sexuality? What is my relationship to everyone out there? That has been like transformative. And I would say I keep on going. If there is something, an
yeah,
issue in
it's
my life, I
yeah,
usually call up some friends of mine and I'm like, hey, can
mhm,
you give me an energy session? Can I get a coaching? And it moves through so fast when you do it in this way, which is very
mm.
cool.
Yeah, because I'm in the same field, of course, as a coach and as a healer. You're ever growing, and it's always an exploration of self, and which you can then like hopefully create a ripple effect to the people around you and to your clients and people that view you online, and it's that ripple created, but it of course starts with you and that self-discovery. So and what are some of the or maybe the main lesson that you've learned in that discovery process?
First of all, I would say definitely it always starts with myself. I cannot be a good facilitator, guide, coach, or whatever if I haven't actually looked at my own work or my own topics.
Mm,
Because usually, yes, we can learn with our mind, but we will only truly be embodied guides or facilitators if we actually moved through it, if we
mm,
can stand there on the other side. So
mm,
that for me definitely in itself was the biggest lesson.
mm,
Just knowing that whatever was my package before or my mountain is usually where I'm also really good at.
right.
That's I think something that we can give to anyone listening as well is like, what is the thing that you are really challenged in your life? And maybe that actually is the key for you to look at this topic, to look at this and realize that this is where your gold nuggets lie. It's
Mm.
hard. It's a hard
Yeah,
thing to realize
yeah, but
that,
that's where your biggest expansion usually lies, right?
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I also love that I read that on your website that in your work you the balance is very important, like with modern science, but with ancient wisdom, and yet also the power and the softness in women. So, can you explain a bit more about why that balance is so important for you?
I think in general, I would say our organism
Hmm.
desires nothing more than equilibrium, so balance and harmony. So in general, we also attract people into our life, especially in relationships and friendships, that help us reach that balance again. And that's often why we trigger in or call in people who really trigger us,
Hmm.
because they're here to show us, hey, there is a wound that keeps you out of balance. Let's bring you back to the balance. So in that sense, for me, it's not about living one
Hmm.
form of existence, but actually start tapping into all of it. And I think something beautiful there is as well, if I can quote Buddha, but we can, is also that was Buddha's path was exactly that. Realizing went here and there, and then realizing actually, no, we got to be in the middle. So
Hmm.
this is a little bit that we shouldn't. Power doesn't mean I'm shouting from the top of my lungs. Power can be I'm so central and soft in my being
Hmm.
that I'm becoming really, really powerful through that. What if we combine the things that people consider opposites into actually seeing that it's the same? What
Hmm.
is spirituality and science are actually talking about the same thing, and we just present them as being two different topics, but it's actually exactly the same. And also, probably in combination, they become much bigger.
Hmm.
That's always the thing. If we combine softness and power, it becomes much bigger. We combine spirituality inside it, it becomes much bigger. And this
Hmm.
is with everything. So it's this balance within myself. Because if I'd have that, then I can inspire others to do that, and that will have a ripple effect into eventually into our earth and into nature to have a balance again. Because this is as well what we're seeing now with the world shaking up with everything that's happening. It's because there is no balance, and she
Hmm.
tries to create balance again. So
Right.
we can do our own part in that, and it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be a really hard part. I mean, sometimes the first step looks really hard, but it actually isn't.
Hmm.
It eventually it can just drop like that. It's like nowadays we could just do this, and all the like the ropes chains are
Hmm.
falling, and we're just like, oh wow, actually it's quite easy to move without them.
Mm. Yeah, it's again, it all starts with you, right? And within.
Yes.
And if you can set an example for someone, even if it's just one person watching or hearing you, or that you guide, it can be that little pebble that creates that ripple effect in the water, and that goes further and further than you may even realize.
Yes.
Mm. And it's also, of course, it reflects back to nature, and like the old Chinese medicine and with yin and yang, also that balance is always essential, also within us, right?
For sure, for sure.
Hmm. And I love that you are a plant whisperer. I would love to know a bit more. What does that mean?
I have been always fascinated with the plant world, even as a child. I remember as a child, me and my best friend, we were walking through the meadows and really looking at the plants and trying everything. How does it taste?
Hmm.
Like we were like, if the cows can eat it, then we can eat it too.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah.
was already this fascination and exploration. I didn't have anyone in my close field that could educate me about it, but there was already this fascination.
Hmm.
And later on, I did a few courses on how to recognize plants and yeah, things like that. And in all of that process, also with me working on my intuition and my psychic abilities, I started realizing it's actually easy for me to talk to plant spirits and receive messages from them. And especially also to receive the messages, how do they want to work through me? Which is always the plants are here to support us. Mainly the plants are here to support us as humans. And if we are learning to listen to their message, we can actually, now that I'm saying this, the wind is picking up insane, and all of the plants in the house, by the way, are just moving and like, wow, just speaking about something powerful. They're here to support us. So if I know what through my body what the frequency is that wants to be transmitted, I can actually support others. And
Hmm.
with me, for example, I will work very close also with Rose, which is
Hmm.
such a everyone knows Rose,
Right.
but hardly any one of us has actually ever been in touch with a proper rose. Like we only know the ones that you can just buy on the side of the street, and yeah, they don't really smell like anything.
Mm,
But rose is such a beautiful plant because obviously there's not, there's a reason behind why it is the plant of for romance and love,
mm,
because it helps us to find balance in our heart. And it's
mm,
always this thing of like to understand what the higher meaning of love is, the
mm,
wisdom of the heart, which is beyond the mind.
mm,
So rose supports us in that, which means it's gorgeous and powerful to just drink rose tea, to surround with yourself with rose, to get to
right.
this deeper understanding. Because I think we as humans, most of us, me included, we're still like captivated in this feeling or in this understanding of romantic love, which has nothing to do with actual love. And I'm not here preaching and knowing what love is. Who am I to know that? But I definitely know that a lot of this, what we're seeing playing out in relationships nowadays, has nothing to do with love.
Mm, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And but it's wonderful that you mentioned the rose because to me, as we talked about balance earlier, like a symbol to me for balance is the rose because it's so beautiful and elegant, but below it's as it's thorns, of course. So that's to me is really the perfect balance. And it also represents to me like the symbol of the feminine and the divine feminine. So it's and I studied herbalism myself, so I love to work with it, and I grow my own roses. So it's that's always nice to do and to work with herbs. And it's I think to me also the feminine body is very connected to Mother Earth and nature. But I think like especially in these times and in these busy times and the technical times, we've kind of lost that connection to nature and Mother Earth. So how would you advise someone who wants to return to that sacred connection more?
Yeah. I mean, I think everything can start very simple and easy. An exercise I often give to people is just like wherever you are, because a lot of us are living in cities and that's perfectly fine. Go to a park and connect with nature in a park or in a forest. What if you're like just sitting down and just observing? That's one of the most powerful things that we anyway don't do enough.
Mhm.
Observe the sounds, the smells, the colors you see, and just start maybe even connecting with one of the plants, which simply means looking at one specific plant for a while. Really taking the colors, the shape, the form, and feel how does this plant make me feel? Like what emotions are coming up? Because most likely you are just receiving a message, a wisdom piece. And this is simple. We can all do that. We
Mhm.
all have some form of plant nearby. And I think it's often like stepping out of this part of ourselves that thinks, oh, I'm going to be looked at as a weirdo when I sit in the park and stare at the tree. And I'm like, no, you're not, because that's actually super beautiful and gorgeous and
Mhm.
something that is very powerful as well. So it
Yeah,
can
there was
start very simple like that, huh?
yeah, there was always this stigma around like, oh, these woo-woo people that hug trees.
Yes.
But trees have so much wisdom in them, and like the older they are, the bigger they are, the more I'm personally like drawn to them and their history and all the things they've seen and witnessed. It's quite amazing. And like you said, they all have this unique story to tell and this unique energy, I think. And when you connect to that energy, you connect back to your true self, right?
Mm, for sure. And also trees are here, like they're really calming down our nervous system. They help us ground. And I
Hmm.
mean, something that I'm like so sure this will be proven in the next couple of years by science.
Hmm.
That's a
Oh yeah,
fact. So
yeah,
that's why hugging trees is not woo-woo. It's actually, it just makes sense. Like
right.
obvious, something that is so deeply rooted into the earth and
Hmm.
so stable helps us to calm down.
Hmm. Yeah,
To just
and
accept-
to literally like ground us, they have roots that go so deep, and they can help us to
yeah.
connect back again to our roots, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you think currently in like there are so many coaching options, especially for women, of course. What do you think is missing in the current coaching industry that helps us connect as women more to that authentic and earthly self?
Well, I actually think quite a few. First of all, my recommendation for anyone looking for coaches, make sure this person actually has an education.
Hmm.
Because it, yes, we can do one weekend course and call yourself a coach, but it actually needs much more than that. I have plus 10 years of training. I'm also a trained social worker, so I also have counseling skills. It's insane the amount of years I took training in how to have a conversation with a person, to make them feel heard, to mirror them back. It's a lot about listening, asking the right questions. So if you have someone that is not able to do that, most likely will come out of the sessions feeling worse than before. Or you feel, I've had that once. I've just felt every time I saw this coach, I came out of the session and felt like there was more chaos in my life than before. That's not
Hmm.
how you should feel. And the second thing is that what I also often see is, and that's a big wound that a lot of coaches hold, is that we actually need our clients, or some of us need our clients to feel self-worth.
Mm.
We become, it becomes a codependent relationship. That's
Right,
crazy, yeah? So the thing is, you don't want to miss your client. You want to make your client dependable on you because it makes you feel good.
right.
And in that form, you might be even, maybe in some form or another, like subconsciously sabotaging the coaching relationship because you don't actually want them to get better. You want them
Mm.
to be year-long clients. And I'm not saying that everyone who has year-long clients does that because I also work with clients. I've worked with clients 1.5 years. But it's really important. Are you as a coach, do you have the desire that your client really gets somewhere and
Right.
that at one point they can stand on their own 2 feet? Or do
Hmm.
you see yourself as being a continuous, yeah. It's a really important one. And I think it's sometimes even hard as a client to catch that. But
Right.
this is a big statement that I use everywhere on Instagram as well. Like, I'm not here to make you dependable on me. I
Hmm.
tell you, I will show you how you can walk on your own. You will walk
Mm.
out knowing the tools, knowing the meditation, knowing the practices so you can walk alone.
Yeah. So you
Me
don't
and
need me anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's
Yeah.
powerful because this is the step away from gurus and
Hmm.
solemn teacher to we're on the same level here. I'm just supporting you right now a little bit in your life, but then you will take over again.
Hmm. Right. And I love that quote that I hear often also in the spiritual world. A healer doesn't heal you, but they stand by your side and show you how you can heal yourself.
Mm. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Yeah, for
Mm.
sure. That's exactly. We're just holding, I wouldn't even say like we're just holding the hand there, and the other person does maybe this for a while.
Hmm.
Not even, I'm not supporting you. Like, I'm not holding you up.
Right.
Uh, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's where the dependency gets in.
Yeah, because you can show someone, okay, this is how I have helped myself up, and this is how you can do this for yourself, instead of, oh, I will hold you up until you feel better again.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Hmm. And what is your favorite way to connect to your body and to nature?
To my body, definitely, I think just every morning, after waking up, I take a moment to just feel what is alive with me, which means on days where I'm a bit more, especially in the cycle, how we're so different in each part of our cycle as a woman. Sometimes I feel like just want to dance for 15 minutes, sometimes just stretching, sometimes it's just sitting there. That for me is a lot like listening to the body and that recurrently during the day. I started really, I mean, I work a lot and I started working on the floor because I realized when I work on the floor, I actually sit more upright and I
Hmm.
also stretch every now and then. There's more movement than if I sit on a chair. So that
Hmm.
is me taking care of my body. In form of nature, I would say plants are around me like all the time. I had to upgrade to a suitcase, like it's a rose gold suitcase that I'm having now, because I kind of travel with like at least 20 different plant products everywhere I go, just
Hmm.
because that's part of my life. Sometimes I take a lot of like essential oil supplements, but it's also like for smell, for just feeling good, but it's also for my health, for
Hmm.
my body. And I think this for me is connecting with the plants every single day because plants, like I said, they're here to support us. And
Hmm.
in that form as well, like the events that I'm giving, because that's where the plants get to speak on a bigger level. And then at the same time, it's me also choosing, even with house plants, we
Hmm.
can connect with nature.
Right.
Looking at them, watering them, touching them. feeling, like how they're feeling, how are they doing, like things like that. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be difficult. I'm always a fan of telling people it doesn't have to be difficult. The only thing that you need to do is you need to do the first step. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're always saying, and I am a bit sick and tired of people saying that, like, oh, I can't do that. I'm too busy. I have a child. Da, da, da. It's like these lame excuses where you're like,
Right.
okay, what if you could actually choose one thing to do? I have clients, single mothers, where they never have time, and I tell them, what about if you practice this when your daughter is around? Because she
Mm-hmm.
also needs to learn it. What
Right.
if you put meditation on, and if you can't sit in with eyes closed, you play with your daughter while you still listen to the meditation, and she hears it too. Like we
Mm-hmm.
can change and adapt things in a
Mm-hmm.
way that it works for us. The only thing we need to do is we need to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there
We
needs to
create
be a
that.
willingness and openness to
Yes.
start,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
100%.
may yeah, it's almost like okay, create a ritual for yourself, or like
Yes.
just daily for it can be a few minutes, or at the start of your day, at the end of your day. But I that's why I created my own course called Healing Habits, because when you want to heal, you have to create habits and rituals that support that healing. So it can start simple with just a few minutes. So I agree, but you have to be like, it's also a curiosity and this willingness to learn more about it, right?
Yeah, for sure. For
Mm,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. And also, I would love to know what is your, like, besides that connection, do you have a other, like, sacred self-care ritual?
Yeah, I think just in general, I'm a person, for example, I love my mornings. I'm an early riser. But I love my mornings where I take time for myself. I usually wake up and I'm a book nerd and I
Mm-hmm.
read for like a half an hour in the morning and slowly getting up, like taking care. For me, in the beginning years of my self-employment, I didn't really value that much. And then I realized that I actually started getting really depressed. And
Mm-hmm.
then for me, one of a crucial thing is self-care for me means I beautify myself in
Mm-hmm.
whatever way I want to wear it. Like, it doesn't matter what I want to wear. In winter,
Right.
it's a really comfortable hoodie, but I still feel good in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important. Like, what do I want to wear today? And then I meditate or I dance and I move. And only after that, and that's usually around like 9:30 or 10, that's actually when I start my actual work. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think everything I did before is also my work because I
Right.
take care of myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
only started opening the laptop because my thoughts are already there. Maybe I already had the most creative ideas while I had a shower. But
Mm-hmm.
when I open my laptop, it's not usually not really before 10. And that for me is the biggest self-care I can do. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, now that I'm in Barcelona because it's so hot, I
Mm-hmm.
actually started having siestas, 15-minute nap times in the afternoon, and it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Yeah.
nice. I realized, wow, it does something to us. Like after lunch, we get tired. So it's also creating a life like that. And I think things like that should be way more common, like
Right.
possible and common
Yeah.
in normal jobs because we all struggle. I remember when I used to work in offices that I was struggling so
Mm-hmm.
much after lunch until
Yeah.
like I was like trying to work and pretend to work by my eyes closed. So imagine I
Right.
could just have a little nap and I would have
Yeah.
been way more productive afterwards.
Mm. Yeah, and it's also just listening to your body and your energy, and getting to know yourself on that deeper level, and know when, because I my energy fluctuates quite a bit, so I know when to look for that energy and know, like, okay, now I can be productive, and not just it's no set time. So I was totally suck at an office job, because then you have to work, say, from 9 to 5, and I no I I'm not good at that. I have my peaks here and my dips there, and it's really about getting to know yourself on that energetic level, and know when I function the best and when I'm most creative. So it's different for everyone, of course. But I
Mm.
like to always start my day with, okay, how am I going to honor myself today, and what do I need today? And if it's rest, okay, it's rest, and I just work a bit less. And when it's movement, okay, I also, like you, I love to move, love to dance, love to stretch, and again listen to what my body and my energy at that time needs. But it sounds so common, of course, but on the other hand, it's not really. So what can we do to introduce that more into our lives?
Talk about it.
Mm,
Lead as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best. Like, I mean, I'm 37 now. Do you know how many times people were super, super shocked when they hear my age? Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't look like 37.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens after that? You're like, okay, why? What's going on? And then you start sharing. It's because I eat this and this way. It's because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take anything. It's because I take care of my body and I rest. And then
Right.
like, oh wow, okay, it must be working what she does. So this
Right.
is why leading by example is the biggest thing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm 43 and no one guesses that as well. So I'm like, yeah, I take my rest when I can and I take good care of myself. I try to eat healthy, drink healthy. I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol. It's not that difficult, but but
What
still
makes
it's
such a difference?
yeah, it's but it's still it's like all these healthy and healing habits and those moments to honor your sacredness and your energy and your creativity, just everything. It's not like, especially when you work that 9 to 5 job, it gets forgotten. So it's important to find that ritual again to connect
Mm.
back to yourself and to that sacredness within you. So I think like healthy habits, in just a few minutes a day can already make quite a difference, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be difficult. It should be
Mhm.
fun, first and foremost.
Yeah, exactly. Have more fun in life. It's
Yes,
already so serious enough, right?
I mean, come on, yes.
Yeah,
If we
it's
don't
already
choose
heavy
our
and
fun and
difficult.
our pleasure every now and then poof, oh,
Yeah.
that's way too gray the world.
And also just do something or create something just for the fun of it instead of having a certain outcome or result or anything. Just have fun. I mean, I started to draw sometimes. I can't draw at all. I'm very bad at it, but I just enjoy the process of it. And I don't really care what the end result is. But it's about that creation process and having fun along the way instead of just focusing on a desired outcome. That's probably
Yeah,
not there.
sure, for sure.
Hmm. And how do you protect your energy on a daily basis?
I mean, I work from home. That already helps. When I'm walking through cities, I often listen to music and noise canceling
Mhm,
headphones. For me, when I block out the ears,
mhm,
I manage to center around myself way more. And again, rest is key for your energy.
mhm,
Health is key for your energy. I do meditation, which also helps.
mhm,
Nowadays, I even started doing twice a meditation. Like after lunch, I do a meditation, and that turns into a little nap. It's gorgeous. I can recommend that to anyone. And that apart from that, I every now and then do clearing work, like
mhm,
cleaning out whatever is not needed in my life anymore, or just like do a little bit a bigger clearing ritual. And that I do it when I feel it more than it following any kind of again. I'm
mhm,
not trying to follow whatever everyone else says. New moon, you need to clear. I'm like, maybe it doesn't feel like that at that day. Maybe it
mhm.
does. Maybe it
Right.
doesn't. So it's
Mhm,
like cleaning out, clearing. Connecting back to my core, to like my lineage core, myself, and what is needed, what can like be let go. So always also taking care of letting things go in my life.
mhm,
It is
mhm,
hard. A lot of people are not trained and used to that.
mhm,
That's why I'm nomadic, because I've been told, or I can still feel the truth of that, that now right now it's not time for me to find a fixed home. Therefore,
mhm,
I choose to live nomadic because again, that's an energy that is not needed right now.
mhm. And it's also clearing not just like the energetic clutter
Yeah,
that we can have, but also like the actual physical clutter around us, of course.
yes,
Mm.
yes.
Well, my last question is always the same, and that is, when do you feel most divine?
When do I feel most divine? I think often when I meditate and
Mm,
dancing as well. When I dance and there's like a really, really good song, also like somewhere outside. And I think there sometimes when you dance with others and you
mhm,
get into that, I actually love that I'm being witnessed by that. So that
mm,
pushes me even more. And it's this thing of you really feel so in connection with yourself. And often the outside world turns a little bit dim. Like it doesn't really matter that much. It's a lot about, oh, my problems. What? There are no problems. There's nothing wrong.
mhm,
Everything is actually fine and gorgeous. And it's just the moment and the present. And I
mhm.
think that's definitely, yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much for today, Jennifer. Thank you.
Thank you too for having me. That was a pleasure.